Hi guys, it's me Alex, and today I'm going to be reviewing two films that I saw recently. I apologize if it gets a bit loud out here. I am outside, as you can probably tell. I thought it'd be a nice change of pace from sitting inside and reviewing a film, or two in this case. Today I'm going to talk about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and The Farewell. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is directed by Quentin Tarantino, and it stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, and Margot Robbie. This film follows Rick Dalton, who is played by DiCaprio, and he's mostly a TV actor, and he feels as if his career is going on a downward spiral and that he's going to become a has-been. And his stunt double is played by Brad Pitt, and Margot Robbie plays Sharon Tate. And this film takes place in 1969, where eventually the lives of these actors and Sharon Tate will start to coincide. And I won't spoil anything from there on. I did like this film a lot, but I don't think it's one of Quentin's best films by any means, but it's definitely not one of his worst either. I think this film is very funny. I thought it had a great sense of humor and plays out like more of a comedy more than anything. DiCaprio especially is hilarious in this role, I thought, and he's having a great time, which is visible. And beyond that, I think there's a very focused sentiment going on in that, this film being written post-Weinstein, I think Tarantino is like, his anxieties are visible within this film, and he's almost writing this as a piece about like relevance in the industry, if you belong in the industry, as the art form, continues to change and the medium will grow. I thought that was oddly mature for him, because while his films are very, like mature to a degree, due to like content, but I thought like the actual sentiment of what he was writing about was more mature than a shitload of violence. And not to say that his films don't have anything going on, but I thought this was a lot more captivating. And yes, it does get violent, so, my main flaw with this film is that I feel like the setting was very lacking for a film that takes place in Hollywood in in 69. I feel like beyond its like cameos or like character period appearances from here and there, and one kind of extended one that I won't spoil, but I don't know, I feel like I was let down by its era, and that the writing didn't always feel as if it was based into the year beyond like its incidents that it wants to draw upon. So I don't know, I feel like for a 2-hour 40-minute film, I could have got a lot more out of just like iconography to a degree, and I don't know, something more deeply written into the era. That might just be me complaining, but I don't know, something was missing there for me. I felt like it was just like a little too blatant. Alright, that's gonna wrap up my thoughts on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Excuse me, I just realized there's a huge spider underneath this table that I'm shooting this on, so if I'm getting distracted, it's because I'm looking at the spider. I thought this film was very decent, and has a lot of purpose in Quentin's filmography, but I would recommend it, but I can't say I would recommend it to everybody, because I feel like a lot of people will be bored out of their minds during this movie if you're not invested in it, or if you don't find it funny, or if you have a preconceived notion of Tarantino and you expect a different kind of movie. I think a good amount of people will like this, so I'll leave it at that. Decent movie, and I'd say for most people it's worth it. Next film I'm going to talk about is The Farewell, which is directed by Lulu Wang and stars Awkwafina, Diane Lin, and Suzanne Zhao, I believe. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes if you're wondering what I'm looking at. But this film is about Billy, who is played by Awkwafina. This film is about a character of Billy, played by Awkwafina, and her grandmother is suffering from cancer. She's at stage 4, so there's not a lot of time left, and the family wants to get everybody together to see her one last time, but instead of some sort of traditional meeting, they decide to invest all this money into creating a fake wedding for Billy's cousins to act as like a catalyst for everybody to come together to see her one last time. I really adored this movie. This is probably one of my favorite films I've seen all year, and I did not expect that from it. I was very surprised throughout the entire runtime. And I think the script is so strong in this movie, and that might be why I think it's one of my favorite films of the year, because when I can like feel the intention of the script, and I can just like sense like how much it enriches both the actors performing from it, and the setting, and like I think this script feels way more foundational than a lot others from films I've seen this year, and I really applaud it for that, because I think Lulu Wang's writing is very deeply funny and sad and tender, and very well paced too. So all these moments that we experience with Awkwafina, with the grandmother, are very deeply felt. I feel like a word people throw around when talking about films like this is that they will find it relatable to a degree, and I don't really think that's a fair word to use for critiquing films to a degree. I don't think it's a like bad word or anything, but I think rather a film like this has a universal appeal, which is kind of rare. Like I was saying with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I don't think that film has universal appeal despite being a decent film, but something like this, again, that is very enriching to watch, and to experience, even to get all the emotions that it puts out there, is really commendable. I guess all I'm saying is that I really thought this movie was emotional, and that its filmmaking was very, very precise. I also thought this film had some very good cinematography, and that's another thing I think people kind of misjudge, but I think the photography in this film was genuinely interesting, in the way that a lot of moments are captured, some things are slowed down. Not to say that this film has any experimental qualities to it, it doesn't, but again, that's not a bad thing. I don't think every film necessarily needs that to be good, and like I was saying, this script is already so good that I guess what I'm just saying is I think the moments that they do use to kind of spice up its filmmaking on a technical scale for an indie film was effective. So I really applaud. I just applaud this movie because it's so very good. And I guess it's also good because I'm having a hard time describing it to a degree despite my notes I wrote down. So I guess I'll leave it at that. I think this is a very, very good film, and that, again, it has a universal appeal, and I think everybody should watch it at some point, because it'll make you feel things. So those are my thoughts on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and The Farewell. I'm considering doing more reviews like this because I haven't done it in a long time, and if you want to see more, put in the comments some films you would like me to review that are coming out or have already come out. I don't really care when. I can go review stuff from the past. I'm fine with that. So if you guys are interested in seeing some stuff from me, yeah, put it in the comments, and then there will probably be a few films that I will review regardless. So thank you guys for watching, and I will possibly see you soon. Have a nice day.
Chef. Too much chef coming through there. Hey. Too much chef run through there. Chef. Who you gon' call us a shootout? Black man looking for